Yes, so hello everybody and welcome down to the Vicente Calderon in the Spanish capital. The players are lining up in the tunnel ready to make their way out onto the pitch at this famous old stadium. Diego Simeone, of course, has done great things over the last few years. He's broken the Athletico duopoly to win a La Liga title. He's got the club on a comparatively small budget to 2 Champions League finals. It's all been done with a tenacious yet pragmatic style, solid team defensive performances, lots of 1-0 wins. But despite the phenomenal success that he's achieved, there had been calls for something a bit more exciting from supporters that today have the umbrellas out and the ponchos as the rain hammers down in Madrid. At the start of this season, what he basically did was take the safety brake off the team, allowed everyone a bit more freedom to venture forward, a bit more creative opportunity for the team. Initially it led to lots of big wins, including a 4-0 victory at Celta back in September. It actually looked as though he'd almost awoken a sleeping beast. In many people's eyes, Atletico Madrid were the favourites for the Spanish title. Then came a few negative results, lots of talk about Simeone and Antoine Griezmann potentially leaving at the end of the season, the inevitable talk that maybe the manager had taken this team as far as he could. The response, as we've been saying, has been a reversion to tried and trusted tactics, putting team solidarity ahead of individual freedom. They've now gone 6 unbeaten in La Liga, winning 4 of those. In that run, 5 clean sheets and just 8 goals scored. The last 4 matches here in La Liga have produced just 4 goals, all of them from Diego Simeone's men. 2-0, 1-0, 1-0, 0-0, and that's more the formula that's led to domestic and continental success in recent years. Too late, of course, for the title now this season, but the Champions League knockout stages begin imminently, and Atletico looking to reach a 3rd final in just 4 years in that competition. And it's a competition, of course, Chris, that they have to make sure they're in next season, especially if they want to keep the likes of Simeone and Griezmann, and that means getting points today, finishing in the top 4.
Yeah, it does. There's a 7-point gap opened up now to Sevilla, and they need to close that gap really to get that 3rd guaranteed Champions League spot, and that will certainly be the aim for Simeone over the second half of the season, along with obviously progressing in the Champions League, looking to get to another final. I mean, they had the best defensive record in the group stages of the Champions League. They were absolutely outstanding, and they're always going to be difficult to beat.
Just to take you through the full starting lineups again for Atletico, it's Moya in goal, the back 4, Juanfran, Lucas, Savic and Felipe Luis, the midfield, Carrasco, Gabi, Saúl and Koke, and the front 2, Torres and Griezmann. For Celta, Sergio in goal, the back 4, Mayo, Cabral, Roncaglia and Johnny, the midfield, Hernandez, Radoya and Jozabed, and up front, Sisto, Guidetti and Iago Aspas. A little time for these two to shake off the disappointment of Copa del Rey semi-final defeats in midweek. Atletico have had the extra day of rest since their game at Barcelona on Tuesday, but Celta had last weekend off after their home game with Real Madrid was postponed. How will that affect these two teams here this evening? Celta in their sky blue, lining up across to the right of halfway, and Atletico in the familiar red and white stripes with blue shorts lining up across to the left. It is Celta Vigo who are going to take the opening kickoff. And the familiar one-man kick-off that we see around Europe now. And we're about ready for this La Liga matchup to get underway. Celta pass it back to Nemanja Radoja and look to go across to the far side, right flank for them. Down the line it goes, and it's chested down by Guidetti, moved across to the far side. They attack immediately far edge of the penalty area, and Stefan Savic gets a boot in the way to get Atletico in possession for the first time. They get forward up towards halfway over on the far side with Saúl, but he runs into trouble, and Juanfran will stab the ball clear then for Atletico up towards the edge of the centre circle. Nice play by Griezmann, 1-2 through the centre of the Celta half, and almost able to release his teammate Fernando Torres on this near side of the penalty area. But in the opening minute, two teams who look like they want to attack, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, well, the rain's coming down, isn't it? And you almost want to run around really to keep warm, don't you, on a night like this? And it's like they both started at a real pace to their game.
Celta move the ball across towards Pione Sisto on this near side, the number 11 who drifts in away from the challenge of Koke. Also evades the challenge of Gabi, but it was a third challenge that came in from Griezmann to dispossess him. We haven't really seen a lot of play in the midfield in the opening 70 or 80 seconds as the ball is played down the line, intercepted by Hugo Mayo, the captain for Celta, over in the right back position for them, and it goes out of play for an Atletico throw-in. Diego Simeone's stood on the edge of his technical area with his trademark black shirt, black tie and long black coat, and already animated, wants to make sure his team do the job here that most people expect they will. But of course there's a bit of pressure on them now. Real Sociedad playing very well indeed, have got themselves ahead, and that will be a psychological boost for them, even if only for a few hours or a few days. Athletico, they're having to chase them down here this Sunday evening. Having to chase down a bad back pass there was Sergio Alvarez, the Celta keeper, able to reach it on the byline and clear it away. High pressure now from Atletico, and Cabral will nod it forward for Celta, not too far though. Koke lays it off across to the far side of the field. Atletico looking to manufacture room for a cross, and they're going to get a free kick in a deep crossing position just off that far touchline.
Yeah, there's a foul on Fernando Torres by Nemanja Radoja there, just a little bit too eager to win the ball, but it's been good pressure early on from Atletico. Just a little clip on Torres' heels means that it's a good chance to whip the ball in from the left-hand side, just a couple of yards in from the touchline.
It's going to be an in-swinger, right-footed delivery, about 15 yards off the far corner of the penalty area. It's deep towards the back post and too close to the goalkeeper, Sergio Alvarez, who just comes out to the edge of his 6-yard box and catches. Yeah,
just too much on the delivery, too much pace over the head of every single Atletico player in the box and into the hands of the keeper.
Given away by Celta on halfway though, presented straight back to Atletico. They can't afford to do that this evening.
They're struggling to get out at the moment, aren't they, Celta? Every time they look to clear it, Atletico are onto the second ball and they're winning it, and they're keeping Celta pinned into their own half.
Talk about an improvement in terms of league form for Atletico, but just one win in the last 6 in all competitions, although that of course includes the 2 legs of the Copa del Rey semi-final against Barcelona. They're of course looking to respond to that disappointment here this evening as well, as Fernando Torres looks to put pressure on Sergio Alvarez. The goalkeeper clears long up towards Guidetti, who nodded it down towards the edge of the centre circle. Cleared away for Celta across towards this near side to Sisto now. Sisto's got on the ball a couple of times already. Hernandez then moves it infield. Guidetti lays it off to Sisto again, near corner of the Atletico penalty area. Able to bring Jozabed into play, but his cross is charged down, and Atletico able to clear. Not too far though. Sisto, smart turn from him, getting away from Gabi. Outside of the right boot, he shifts it to the corner of the box to Jozabed. Stabbed through by Iago Aspas. Might come for Jozabed here, and he struck it from about 15 yards out. He was closed down immediately by Lucas Hernandez, but Celta Vigo win the corner.
Yeah, it was good interplay, wasn't it, between Sisto and Jozabed, and then Aspas trying to find a little ball into Guidetti's feet. Fell for Jozabed to try and bend it into the far corner. Good defending from Lucas Hernandez.
Really good short-range passing in a congested area. Celta certainly comfortable with the ball at their feet, and they've earned this corner on the near side of the field as they attack the goal across to our left, and Sisto's trying to step off the side of the pitch to get a longer run-up, slipped on the wet surface, and that got a cheer from the Atletico fans, but they won't be cheering now because Celta have taken the lead after 5 minutes here. Celta Vigo supply a shock to the system at the Vicente Calderon. It was headed into the back of an empty net. I think it was Gustavo Cabral, the centre-back. After the cross, the corner wasn't dealt with. It's Atletico Madrid 0, Celta Vigo 1.
This is absolute terrible mistake by Miguel Moya in the Athletico goal. I mean, the corner from Sisto was really poor. It's one that just drifted into the middle of the 6-yard box. He could have just caught it, decided to punch it, ended up coming off the outside of his right hand and falls straight on the head of Cabral, who just heads it into the empty net. Simplest of finishes for him, but what a mistake from Miguel Angel Moya in the Athletico goal. Gifted Celta the chance to take the lead, and they've taken it.
That is an absolute shocker from the goalkeeper. He just punches it square, not even away from the penalty area, square onto the head of Cabral, who scores his first goal in a year and a half.
I never understand why goalkeepers don't catch the ball.
It was there to be caught,
when they're not under, there's no one anywhere near him, there's no players around him, he's under no pressure. Just catch it. It was a lovely height to catch.
Of course, Jan Oblak is the first choice Atletico goalkeeper, but he's been recovering from a shoulder injury. But Miguel Angel Moya is an experienced keeper. He fell behind Oblak in the pecking order last season, but he started 27 La Liga games the previous season. And that is a horrible error that gives Celta Vigo the lead at the Vicente Calderón, and it rather goes against anything that we were saying before kick-off, and we've got a game on our hands.
Well, it's going to be more difficult now, isn't it, for Atletico, because obviously the onus is on them to come out and attack, which I don't think suits them particularly. And Celta themselves do look dangerous on the counter-attack whenever I've watched them this season.
If you were listening to that preview show, disregard it. We've got a very different game on our hands after about 5 minutes.
It's all down to a goalkeeper's mistake, and it can completely change. Diego Simeone's team talk for the whole game. It's completely changed in the space of 5 minutes because a keeper's made a horrific error.
Well, certainly now Atletico in a position they need to make sure they score 2 goals. We've been talking about how they haven't been scoring many, but getting the job done largely because of those clean sheets. They don't have a clean sheet here today, and they might have to revert back to that more gung-ho method we saw earlier in the season. A draw would not be good enough for them today. They need to take maximum points on home soil.
I think the good news is it's so early in the game. I don't think they'll change anything. Certainly Diego Simeone's been through this sort of situation before. Won't panic, but obviously the longer it goes, if Celta can get to half-time with that lead intact, it then becomes a lot more difficult for Simeone and his Atletico side. Does he make changes? Does he become more attacking? No decisions to make, but at the moment Celta is giving them a real lift, and they're on the front foot.
Well, they had a good field position then, but Pione Sisto, the same player who slipped as he was about to take a corner, saw the ball slip under his boot there and just went out to play for a throw-in when it should have been an easy touch to control it. Celta had everybody up inside the Atletico half. Now there's a chance for Fernando Torres to get forward. He's been eased off the ball here.
Felt that he was fouled, didn't he? He did, there was a little foul. It was Roncalia just tugging him back on the shoulder, and he was just having a quiet word with the assistant on that side, just saying, look, there was a foul there, why didn't you give it?
Chip forward over on the far side for Celta, a swing and a miss from Stefan Savic with Jozabed all over him, almost gave the ball away. Celta have it on the halfway line over on the far side of the pitch. It's hung high up towards Guidetti again, cleared away for Atletico towards the head of Griezmann. He's able to flick it on, and that was a really stern challenge from Gustavo Cabral. Went right through the back of one of the Atletico players. No free kick given there, but Atletico still have the ball.
I think it was Torres actually who just got clattered from behind.
Edge of the centre circle, back to Savic on halfway. Atletico now have everybody in Celta sky blue, pressed back inside their own half. Let's chip forward down the left flank towards Griezmann, over the top of his head though. And Griezmann now gets the ball down on that far touchline, plays it in towards Torres, who's trying to turn away, far side of the penalty area. Can he find a way through? Celta really struggling to clear the ball. It was like pinball in there, and eventually they smother the threat of Fernando Torres and smuggle the ball away.
It was great determination from Torres, wasn't it, between two players? He showed much more determination to get on the ball than them. Blocked the tackle, but didn't quite fall for them. Roncalia clears the danger.
We played 10 minutes here on La Liga Live on TalkSport 2. Atletico Madrid 0, Celta Vigo 1. Into Torres, overhead kick, brilliantly done!
My God.
That is a quite majestic equalising goal from Fernando Torres, who adds to the brace he got here against Leganes last weekend. But he will remember that one for a long, long time. It came into him. He had his back towards the far top corner and just swung his leg up into the air, and it looped over the top of Sergio Alvarez, who was left rooted to the spot. 10 minutes in, Atletico Madrid have found a way back, and they have found found a way back out of some sheer individual brilliance.
Well,
Atletico 1, Celta 1.
Yeah, Yannick Carrasco just plays the ball into Fernando Torres' feet. He's a couple of yards inside the penalty area, takes his first touch, he sits up nicely, he goes back to goal, and he just decides to flick it over his head. It goes over the goalkeeper. Alvarez literally nestles into the top corner. It's an absolutely sensational finish from Fernando Torres. They say the best strikers always know where the goal is. Well, he certainly did there.
Tremendous goal. Certainly urge you to watch that one on the highlights, on a full replay of the match on TV when you can. Fernando Torres, the 32-year-old striker who has scored some beautiful goals throughout his career, of course. 91 goals in his first spell at Atletico, and then 81 goals for Liverpool, of course, before a big move to Chelsea when he scored just 45 goals in 172 games. But back at Atletico, he's been rejuvenated since that disappointment with the Blues, and that, I think, will go down as one of his best goals when his career is all said and done. Atletico now looking to try and turn the first half completely on its head. Ball on the far corner of the penalty area, and it's cleared away by Pablo Hernandez, but the Vicente Calderon in full voice again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the beauty of that goal is it's almost unstoppable. There's nothing that the defenders could have done any better.
It's the height he gets on it, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's the fact he's got his back to goal. The defender thinks there's no danger, and then suddenly he just flicks it over his head and it goes into the top corner. The keeper can't do anything about it. It's just completely out of the blue. What a finish. Sometimes you have to hold your hands up and say well played.
And now they're looking to get themselves ahead here, Atletico. Run forward from right back, hangs one towards the back post. It's too far for Torres though, and recovered over on the far touchline. They'll try and get it back into the danger zone again. Pass back by Yannick Carrasco, and now Felipe Luis down the line. The tackle comes in on the far touchline, and Celta are having to work very hard to try and stop the gaps now appearing in their defence as Gustavo Cabral puts in a sturdy challenge. And we're just going to, on our monitor, take another look at that goal. You'll want to see it over and over again. It comes into him with his back to goal, and you're right, Chris, he knows exactly where the goal is. He knows he's in a diagonal line absolutely. To the far post, doesn't he?
He doesn't need to look. He knows where it is, and it's just improvisation really from him to come up with something like that. It's brilliant.
He returned to the club 3 summers ago, scored just 5 goals in his next 35 league games after that disappointing spell at Chelsea, and then in the second half of last season 9 in his last 14. He looked like the player of old again, and this season he hasn't had too many chances, at least starting in the league, but he's now scored 5, set up another 2 in 16 and a bit appearances. Only 5 of those have been starts. 14 minutes played here on La Liga Live. Atletico Madrid 1, Celta Vigo 1.
It's been a good game, hasn't it? Good opening to the game. Both sides looking to play attacking football. I think the conditions will probably help in that as well.
Here goes Guidetti running in behind, near side of the penalty area as he's forced away from goal. Back it comes to Sisto on this near touchline, left flank for Celta Vigo. Cross will come in from a deep position for Johnny, who changes his mind and then switches the play to the far side. Now it will come in from a deep position over on the right, headed on, and that was almost a chance for Guidetti at the back post after the near post flick from Iago Aspas.
Yeah, I don't think Aspas is trying to flick it on. He makes the run across Savage at the near post, gets in between 2 defenders. He's trying to guide it in at the far post, doesn't quite get enough to put it on target, but Guidetti almost gets on the end of it. It's a good ball in from Johnny, the left back there, and whipped it in.
Celta have had 3 shots on goal in the opening quarter of an hour. Atletico have only had the 1, but what a one it was from Fernando Torres. Celta on the ball again on the edge of the centre circle. Flicked forwards by Josebed, but it's a thumping clearance away by Lucas Hernandez. Griezmann will nod the ball forward towards Torres. We've not seen a great deal of Antoine Griezmann yet as Torres skips away towards the byline. It looked to have got a touch off the defender as he nicked it around him. Well, I think so Torres was letting it go for a corner.
You can always tell by the players' reaction that they know that's meant to be Torres there hits it against the defender, and then he doesn't make any attempt to try and get on the end of it because he knows that it's come off the defender. It's going to be a corner. Referees really need to look at players' reactions sometimes.
And we see that Torres is having a word with the referee now. He had to go and have a word with the assistant for a foul he thought he should have had earlier. So he might have scored a wonder goal, but he's not settling for that. Atletico need the points, and he knows it.
Worryingly, though, I think it's Cabral gone down after making that challenge. Yeah. Just wonder if Torres maybe stamps on his foot, or he looks in a lot of pain. You wouldn't go down.
It looks like a coming together of the boots of Fernando Torres and Gustavo Cabral after he jinked around towards the byline and was asking for that corner. Cabral is a player who's been a regular at centre-back for the last 4 seasons for Celta.
It's actually something to do with I think it's his left hand. I don't know whether Torres has run into his hand and maybe he's dislocated a finger or something like that, but looks in quite a lot of pain.
If that's the case, I imagine they will try and get him back on, get the finger strapped up.
Certainly central defenders shouldn't go off with a hand injury, I would suggest.
It's a different game now though, Chris, to when you played. Over on the far side, Felipe Luis trying to slide to keep the ball in play, not able to do so. So Celta have the throw. We've played 17 minutes here on La Liga Live. And tactically, Chris, I imagine it's sort of back to square one now. Atletico taking the game from this point on, trying to be solid.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much where you would have expected the game to be, as Cabral does come back on with the strapping on his left hand. But you know, the fact that Atletico were able to get back on terms so quickly just means, it's back to the status quo really, and the original game plans can try and set up. Celta, I'm sure, were absolutely overjoyed to have scored so early, but probably would have expected to have to defend for long periods in this game, and they're being forced backwards now.
Ball is going to be recovered in the right back position by Redoya for Celta, who squares to his goalkeeper Sergio Alvarez. He's able to clear away under pressure up towards halfway, met in the air by Saúl Ñíguez, and hook clear then by Hugo Mayo over his head up towards halfway again. It's a bit of a battle for possession at the moment. Celta just keep trying to hook the ball clear, Atletico keep trying to bring it down, and in the end it ends up at the feet of John Guidetti, who's had to go back into his own half to get on the ball. Floated it down the line, but there wasn't enough room to work with there for Iago Aspas, and it goes out of play for an Atletico throw-in. Played close to the 20-minute mark now, and we've had 2 goals already in a game we expected to be tight. It's been a really good tussle so far, and there was a tussle going on in the Celta right-back position over there, and I think the free kick has gone against the captain Hugo Mayo, and this is a really good position for Atletico.
Yeah, Carrasco, the ball got played over the top. Carrasco just got beyond him, and Mayo just tugged back on his arm to stop him getting away. He's got a lot of pace, Carrasco, and you can't let him get free.
So the free kick is about 15 yards off the far corner of the penalty area. Going to be whipped in by Carrasco. Right-footed delivery in towards the near post, same spot from which Fernando Torres scored that overhead kick, although this time it's deflected away, and scurrying back to recover in his own half is Juan Fran, the right back, who eases it back to Moya. Moya goes long this time. He'll be as happy as anybody that Atletico have been able to get back level as quickly as they have done. Certainly be feeling a lot better about his earlier mistake now. Twisting and turning on the ball now in the midfield for Atletico is Carrasco, across to Felipe Luis on that far side. Carrasco again. Torres allows the ball to run across his body towards the byline. Can he get a cross in? Maybe a penalty there.
Ooh.
A goal kick has been given, and Fernando Torres, who's had an ongoing war of words with the officials here in the first 20 minutes, will run across to the referee and stake his claim for a penalty.
Yeah, I think he's got a claim too. He did brilliantly on the initial pass to let it run. It's from Callia, comes back and makes a challenge. I think he gets a little bit of the ball, to be fair. Just makes the sliding challenge. He doesn't get the ball at all, catches Torres on the foot. My first thought actually when I saw it was that he got a bit of the ball, and that's probably what the referee thought in normal pace. It wasn't until it was slowed down you could maybe see the challenge, so I can understand why the referee didn't give it. But
is there a case that maybe the referee deems Torres to have put his foot out to the side to stop the challenge?
I don't actually think that was the case in this one. You can usually see when they initiate contact forwards, they leave a dangling leg there. Torres didn't do that.
Ball cleared by Sergio Olivares, the Celta keeper, under pressure up towards halfway, headed on by Felipe Luis. So all action in the first 21 minutes here, a couple of goals, a big penalty claim. And now on the ball is Yannick Carrasco on the far side, wins a throw-in for Atletico, about 20 yards from the corner flag.
It's all coming down this left-hand side for Atletico, isn't it? Carrasco. Torres has been really prominent in the opening 20 minutes of this game. He's looked really up for it.
He's been brilliant, Fernando Torres. It has been like the Torres of old. Guidetti lays it off for Celta. Now a chance for Sisto to break. Atletico's defensive line so high up the field. Sisto threatening to run in behind, but he took it wide. Back onto his right foot, drills it in edge of the box. Deflected away. Danger still not away for Atletico though. Over on the far side there might be a chance to work the cross in. Left-footed up towards the head of Sisto, but he can only head it softly wide of the target, and you just feel his first touch or two there could have taken him in on goal. Instead it was poor and took it out wide.
His first touch was awful, wasn't it? He was, as you say, clean through. If his first touch had been good, it ended up looked like it almost came off his shin and took him way out wide to the left. He cut inside, did get a shot away in the end with his right foot, but it was well blocked by Savic.
Ball headed away as it was kicked long towards the Celta defenders. They've worked it into the feet of Guidetti, who tries to race in behind from Iago Aspas's return ball.
There's a few players still slipping about a bit on the surface. There's been a lot of rain in the build-up to the game. And you just wonder in Spain, do they actually have long studs? You know, do they, because the weather's generally so good, do they only own a pair of moulded boots that maybe aren't ideal for this sort of situation?
Celta certainly had their storm warning last week, didn't they? It was a storm that caused a bit of damage at their stadium, which saw the game against Real Madrid postponed.
Well, the last couple of games up in Vigo have been really, really wet. I remember the quarter-final win over Real Madrid. It was absolutely teeming down on that night as well, and they managed to deal with it. But certainly there's players out there slipping. The pitch looks slick.
Koke able to keep his balance as he pulled a Cruyff turnover on the far side then and win a throw-in for Atletico. It comes in towards Torres, who's held the ball up well today as well as he gets the cross in. It's cleared away by Johnny from the Celta penalty area. Sisto's now dribbling back towards the edge of his own box and swarming around him. Three Atletico players threatening to pick his pocket right on the edge of his own box, but they're able to play out of that pressure. And Atletico now back on the ball at the back. Play it quickly in towards the feet of Griezmann. Griezmann being closed down quickly every time he's on the ball. Hasn't really been able to stamp his authority on the game just yet. It's a poor flick from him. I think he's wary of that pressure coming immediately as soon as the ball comes into his feet. Tried to do something quickly that time. And then Stefan Savic on the defensive end for Atletico steps across on the edge of his own 18-yard box and tidies things up before going back, and they can start from the back to build forward again.
It's pretty breathless at the moment, isn't it? A real pace to the game from one end to the other. Both sides looking to attack as quickly as they can when they get the opportunity.
Guidetti was hoping to nip in behind Lucas Hernandez there, but it's cleared away by the Atletico defender. In towards Torres, taken off his toes though, and Celta have it with Iago Aspas, their main man. Lovely ball with the outside of his boot across towards the centre. Left-footed drive towards the top corner from Johnny Castro, the left back, who got forward into almost a number 10 position, took on the shot with his left foot, although Moya just had to take one step to his right, bat the ball down and gather it in.
Yeah, he does like to get forward, Johnny Castro, from that left back role, as you said. Just popped up in a little bit of space, took the shot on. It was comfortable for Moya, although he did double take at it.
He's one of their most exciting young talents, Johnny Castro, just 22. Started 6 games for Spain's under-21s in qualifying for next year's European Championships. And he's been a regular at left-back in La Liga for Celta this season as well. It's pinched back here by Pablo Hernandez. Moved on by Josebed across the centre circle towards the far side to Mayo. And back to Nemanja Radoja, who's the midfielder who sits the most to protect the back four. Fernando Torres trying to press as it goes back to Roncaglia. And Celta play it away towards the chest of Iago Aspas, who controls it beautifully. Square infield, it comes to Josebed now. They're keeping the ball well, Chris. Yeah,
they're a good side, Celta, when they're allowed to play, and I think Athletico are a little bit guilty of sitting off them at the moment and allowing them to just have nice, easy possession.
Johnny trying to play in Guidetti over the top, and it was an easy ball to watch and head clear. Celta have it on halfway. They play it into the feet of Iago Aspas, and he gets similar treatment to the treatment that Antoine Griezmann has had so far here. As soon as the ball comes into his feet, there's somebody right on top of it.
I think when I've watched Celta this season, you know, they can be really, really good on their night if you let them play and you allow them to play, and they're up for the game. Obviously beating Barcelona and Real Madrid in different competitions this season, so they're well capable of a big performance, and I just think Atletico need to put them under a little bit more pressure.
Sisto on this near touchline, left flank for Celta, threatened to go down the line, then came back in field. Now it's Pablo Hernandez. This is about as slow as the tempo has been all game so far, the last couple of minutes. Celta have made it that way by passing it around very succinctly into the feet of Guidetti. Now a chance to hit it, right-footed off the front of the post. Brilliant effort. And then the flag is up as the rebound came out across to the far side of the penalty area, but it was a thumping hit from Josebed with the inside of his boot, powerful, low, crisp towards the bottom corner. It had the beating of Miguel Angel Moya, but it didn't have the beating of the woodwork.
Well, this is what I'm talking about with Celta. If you let them play, they're a really good, attractive side. They passed it well, went from one side of the pitch to the other. Some lovely interplay into Guidetti, little set, but Josebed on the edge of the box, trying to bend it into the bottom corner along the floor and hit the base of the post. Really unlucky.
This is a player, Josebed, who only signed on loan from Fulham just last month. He's come within a few inches of his first goal for the club. He did score 9 goals in La Liga for Rayo Vallecano last season before moving to Fulham in July. Only made 1 start in the Championship though. And here he is starting in a La Liga game against Atletico Madrid and almost scoring a goal to put Celta back ahead. A chance to counter now for Atletico. Griezmann didn't make the most of it, but they still threaten on the edge of the penalty area. Sliding intervention to force the ball back to his own goal though. And cleared away by Sergio Alvarez after a stretched out leg from Johnny. Pinch back now on the near side into the near edge of the penalty area. Comes Carrasco twisting and turning. They ask for a penalty again and they've got one. Yannick Carrasco with some nifty footwork, tripped as the Celta players swarmed him in the penalty area. The referee turned down one earlier in the game. This time he was in no doubt whatsoever, pointed straight to the spot.
Yeah, I don't actually think this is a penalty, this one. There's very little contact at all. Carrasco just turns at 360 degrees in the penalty area, goes between 2 players, throws himself to the floor and wins the penalty. I think he's given that because, you know, the
it's
Torres one was,
one, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
And it is Fernando Torres who's placed the ball, not Antoine Griezmann. So Torres, who got a couple against Leganes here last weekend, now inside of half an hour, a chance to get a couple here today as well. Steps up, rifles it against the crossbar, and it deflects away. Goalkeeper dove down to his left. Torres just put his laces through it. They almost broke the bar, but it comes back. It bounced so far that it went outside of the penalty area and away.
Well, I don't think I've seen many penalties hit with more power. He just struck it, didn't he, with lots of power down the middle. It looked as though it had Alvarez beaten all day long, but then rebounds plumb onto the bar and goes out of the penalty area. The power that he hit it with, Torres looks away with disappointment. Diego Simeone can't quite believe it, but then applauds him for really having a good attempt at it, but I think justice was done there.
Justice for that decision, maybe. What about the earlier one?
Well, the earlier one was a penalty, but that one certainly wasn't.
Here's Guidetti turning. Sisto outside of him, if he can move the ball across towards this near side. This wonderful La Liga roller coaster ride of a game has taken another twist. Here's Iago Aspas, near corner of the penalty area. Sisto couldn't quite get on the ball. It was a sliding intervention from Koke. Given away by the number 6 though. Iago Aspas trying to square it, comes back here onto the near corner to Pablo Hernandez, who threatened to get into the penalty area. Very congested though on the edge of the box, and now Atletico can look to counter-attack. Nice touch from Carrasco, through ball from Griezmann, back to Carrasco. It was inch perfect, stopped by the goalkeeper though. The low drive from Yannick Carrasco, who has a second bite of the cherry here on the near side of the penalty area, and it's forced out of bounds by Facundo Roncaglia for a corner kick.
Well, what a counter-attack that is from Atletico Madrid. One end to the other. Griezmann to Carrasco, strikes the ball from the edge of the 18-yard box. Alvarez stands up, makes a good save with his legs. Rebound comes back to him. Roncaglia actually does really well defensively and wins the goal kick off of Carrasco, but chances at both ends. Such an entertaining game, it really is.
Yannick Carrasco had an awful lot of the goal to aim at there, didn't he? And it almost looked as if he was trying to put it through the goalkeeper's legs.
He went for power, didn't he? Just didn't have maybe the composure to pick his spot.
He's gone 13 games without a goal, maybe lacking in confidence. In front of the target there, through one-on-one. Here comes Celta now. Very little of this game being played in the midfield. Sisto on the near corner of the penalty area, looking to shift onto his left foot to get the cross in. Closed down by the double team of Koke and Juanfran. And Koke able to clear down the line, not too far though. Only as far as Hernandez, who goes infield. Back into the penalty area it goes. Good ball from Iago Aspas, and struck towards goal by Jozabed again on the turn. And Moya had to drop down to his left to make another stop.
That's brilliant play once again. Aspas involved, playing a little ball into the feet of Jozabed inside the penalty area. Wriggles away from Juanfran, gets closed down by Stefan Savic, but fires a shot through his legs. Comfortable save for Moya.
They've taken a little deflection along the way as well, which might have made it more awkward for Moya. He'll be happy to have stopped one now after that earlier mistake. We've played 32 minutes here on La Liga Live on TalkSport 2. Really good game we've got on our hands. Atletico 1, Celta Vigo 1. Felipe Luis moving it across to Koke, plays it first time down the line. Torres trying to turn. Roncaglia getting his body between the Atletico player and the ball, and the
Torres
assistant
unlucky,
on the near side has waved his flag. I'm not sure the referee was going to blow his whistle. Torres had got in front of Roncaglia, pinched the ball back, and was threatening to race into the penalty area.
It's great closing down, isn't it, from Torres? Doesn't give Roncaglia a moment's rest. Very little contact to give a free kick there. He won it and he was away on goal.
Almost as if Roncaglia just stopped because he expected the whistle to be blown, and it's that body language that sometimes makes up the official's mind. Long ball towards Guidetti, but he's beaten in the air, and Atletico look to move it across up towards Griezmann, but Celta back on the ball. We've had so much action over the last 15 minutes or so, we haven't really been able to cover everything, but that ball through to Carrasco from Antoine Griezmann just goes to show what a talented player he is. He hasn't really been in the game, they've got around him, they made it difficult for him. One moment of pure genius.
Absolutely, it was the first time he'd even got on the ball, really, wasn't it? And that's probably the one disappointing thing from Atletico Madrid's point of view, is they haven't been able to get him on the ball more regularly.
Here's Sisto for Celta on this left flank, goes down the line, gets it back now, through to Guidetti in the penalty area. It's come across to this near side to Johnny, who's forward from left back again, but he's closed down by Juanfran, and Atletico able to move the ball away and stay quite composed in doing so, although Juanfran in his right back position is closed down, was just holding his hands out to the sides and asking somebody to give him an option. He didn't want to just hoof it away. Now he's taking a poor touch to try and control the ball, and then another one as it dropped back down from the floodlights, and he gifts Celta a throw in 5 yards from the corner flag.
They just don't look comfortable at the back, do they? Let's go. You expect them to be so assured at the back every time they defend, and I know it's a little bit of an unusual back four, like certainly the centre-back partnership anyway, but just don't look comfortable. They're not dealing with things well. There's spaces to play in between them that Guidetti and Jozabed have found so far in this game far too easily.
They're missing that experience, aren't they, of Diego Godin, you feel, someone to run the back four.
He's arguably the best 1v1 defender in world football, Diego Godin, and a fantastic talker and organiser, as you said.
10 minutes to go until half-time, and the ball has been deflected away and out and behind. I'm not sure if this is a corner or a throw-in that's been given here to Celta. It is a corner kick from the same side that they scored earlier in this half. Pione Sisto's going to whip it in and try and test Moya again. It's high towards the keeper, and this time he just catches the ball. Why couldn't he have done that the first time?
It was much more difficult catch this time, wasn't it, as well? And he did decide to catch it and did it really well.
Played a good long ball down the field as well, something to chase for Carrasco, who'd been left up there, but Celta deal with that threat well. Just go back to the goalkeeper and then pass it around Carrasco and have space to move it forward over on the far side of the field. 1-1 the score, but Fernando Torres has missed a penalty. We've got 9 minutes plus added time to play here in the first half on La Liga Live on TalkSport 2. Pablo Hernandez with the ball on halfway, not pressed by Athletico. They're happy to let Celta have the ball in this kind of area. So Celta go backwards and then across to the side on this near side, left side of the pitch, touch back towards Sisto. Then they start to apply some pressure, Athletico, and Saul can play the ball away towards Torres. Good defending though from Roncaglia, and Celta back on the ball over on the far side.
I just think sometimes when you want to defend deep, as Atletico have done for the majority of this half, you do that when you don't believe that the team are good enough to play through you. I think Celta have shown on 2 or 3 occasions that they are good enough to play through them if they don't put them under pressure. And I wonder if Simeone might start to maybe press a little bit higher up the pitch in the second half when he gets them in at half time, because they've opened them up on 2 or 3 occasions.
Yeah, you think about when they moved the ball around to work it to the edge of the penalty area for Jozabed to strike the bottom of the post.
He got in again, got another shot, didn't he, when he made the run into the penalty area. Guidetti's looked to get in behind a couple of times as well. I just think they're good enough on the ball to play through Atletico, so they need to be under more pressure.
We've had those couple of opportunities for Celta as well as their goal. We've had a penalty and a one-on-one for Atletico as well as their goal, so it could have been a much higher scoring half. And again, we expect it to be tight because that's the way things have gone at this stadium in recent weeks. I said it in the build-up, 2-0, 1-0, 1-0, 0-0 the last 4 games here.
You just wonder whether Godin really does make that much difference at the back. Maybe lacking a voice in there. You know, Stefan Savic, Montenegrin, Lucas Hernandez, French. Is there a common language between the two? How good, certainly not Lucas Hernandez necessarily, but how good is Stefan Savic's Spanish? And I think it's important that it's one of the centre-backs really that is the leader in there. As much as Juan Fran's got lots of experience, Felipe Luis got lots of experience, a centre-back needs to be the leader because they're in the middle of the pitch.
17th start in the league today for Stefan Savic, but of course most of those will have come alongside Diego Godin, and pretty much all of them in fact. So he's sort of having to run the defence today as opposed to Godin, and it's creating problems for Atletico. Lucas Hernandez, his centre-back partner today, is just 20 years of age as well. Sisto's free kick curled into the penalty area and headed away. And of course, Chris, they haven't really had a goalkeeper that's filled them with any confidence either.
No, certainly not. Again, Jan Oblak's not their normal goalkeeper. I know that Moya's played the last 6 La Liga games and has kept 5 clean sheets, but he's not the normal goalkeeper, so there are changes at the back and it can make a big difference.
Long range effort, struck left-footed from about 35 yards out. That's a waste really when Celta get into that kind of field position and have Atletico press back.
Yeah, it was a waste from Aspas, wasn't it? Really nothing, no chance of scoring really from there. It'd have to be an absolute bolt from the blue, but Celta, I think, are better than that. I think if they do pass the ball around, they will open up this team. I think they just need to be more patient and make the right decisions.
We've had a good length of time to assess these two teams now, closing in on the 40-minute mark. Scores obviously level, but This could be an intriguing question. I'll ask you, Chris, who's been the better team?
For me, the better team's been Celta. I think they've certainly played the better football. They've looked the more dangerous. Atletico's chances, I mean, the goals come completely out of the blue, don't get me wrong. Obviously, Celta's goal came from a mistake, but they've created the better chances in open play. You know, on the counter-attack, Atletico have looked dangerous every now and again, but Celta have impressed me more than Atletico.
Atletico trying to impress here in the Celta half, have pressed the Sky Blues right back. It's chipped forward across towards Juanfran, who's forward from right back on the near side. Sisto back defending, got his head to the ball, and in the end it goes out of play for a Celta throw-in. It's a performance from Atletico so far that does look bereft of confidence.
Yeah, I think you're right. I was just going to say something similar. They just look as though they're not the same team that you expect to see, and Diego Simeone team that's got so much belief in what they're doing, they don't seem to have that belief.
Fernando Torres is one player who has stood out as playing well. That's aside from his beautiful goal. He's ran the ball really well, he's threatened, and he's held it up well as well.
Yeah, the missed penalty doesn't seem to have affected his confidence at all, does it? He's still working just as hard and looking to get on the ball, make things happen.
He's just put pressure on the Celta defence to help Atletico win a throw-in here, taken by Juanfran into Torres. Bit of a heavy touch, but he was able to reel it in, and he got away from two Celta players, looked to have been tripped, and it almost seems as though the officials have something against Fernando Torres today.
You just wonder whether, I know some officials get objectives from the week before, and they look at games the week before, and whether Fernando Torres maybe dived a couple of times last week and referees have been told to have a look at it. There's a yellow card for John Guidetti for a late challenge there. I think it was on Lucas Hernandez there, who's trying to play out from the back.
John Guidetti suspended for Celta's next match. Now there was a little panic there because the referee took his notebook out, which had the red card showing, but he pulled the yellow out of it as well and waved the yellow at John Guidetti.
I don't think it was a foul on Fernando Torres. I did think he did go to ground easily.
Free kick taken long by Atletico, and they've not been able to make anything of it. Sisto can try and run it clear. Skips away from the challenge of Gabi. He's away from the challenge of Carrasco as well. Moving from the left flank through the centre. Moves it on to Guidetti. Right flank now. Can he get the cross in? Far corner of the penalty area. Goes down the line. Mayo chips it in. It's a poor cross though at the end of a lovely counter-attack, and it's easily cleared away by Pablo Hernandez.
It's a lovely elusive run from Sisto, wasn't it? Running from the left-hand side of the pitch across the pitch. Got the ball out to Guidetti, who fed Mayo, and the chance was there to cross it in under no pressure. Really poor cross.
So all able to hook the ball away for a throw-in. Mayo takes it, although Felipe Luis holding off the challenge of Aspas over by the corner flag and clears it away down the line. We've played 43 minutes now here on La Liga Live on TalkSport 2 under Vicente Calderon. Atletico Madrid 1, Celta Vigo 1. Both of the goals coming in the opening 15 minutes. Celta trying to complete a first half turnaround by getting themselves ahead before the break, although they're being really pressed in the midfield here as they try and move the ball clear, and Felipe Luis has lost out. And it's moved across the centre circle by Celta now to Sisto. Xisco just moving the ball away from Griezmann, might get it back in near side of the penalty area. The ball was in front of him rather than to his feet where he wanted it, and it runs behind for a goal kick.
It's a good opportunity actually. Sisto again getting the ball and running up players. Played the ball to his right hand side to Jozabed, went for the return, and it was just overhit from Jozabed. It certainly was an opportunity to get him in and have a shot at goal.
We've seen about 5 replays now of that Fernando Torres overhead kick goal, which has lit up the Vicente Calderon in this first half, but more consistently Celta's performance has lit up the stadium. Some very bright attacking play, very confident attacking play. We wondered how they'd respond to that Cup semi-final defeat in midweek, and it doesn't seem to have affected them at all.
I think when you look at the way Celta are playing, they look as though they've got a plan. They know exactly what they're doing. When they press and put Atletico under pressure, everyone goes together. They squeeze one way, everyone's on the same page. with Athletico at times, it doesn't look like they're on the same page.
Sisto, a chance to race away down this near touchline now. He's got him behind. Forward towards Guidetti. Goalkeeper came to close him down, and Guidetti ran out of pitch to operate there. His instinct must have been telling him to take it around the goalkeeper, but just one little touch carried it wide for a goal kick. And Miguel Angel Moya had to make sure that he didn't touch Guidetti, and he did that part well.
Yeah, it's actually really good goalkeeping, as I was going to say. Yeah, I mean, he came sliding out, didn't he, just to confront Guidetti, but didn't come far enough to make any contact, because I'm sure Guidetti would have gone to ground had there been any.
Griezmann, a nice layoff to Torres. It's moved to the far side. We're into the only added minute at the end of the first half, and it comes towards Griezmann over his head. Might run to Koke on this near side, back across the face of goal, and Griezmann was in a really good position at the back post, but it was cleared away in front of him. Dangerous moment for Celta Vigo. They don't want to concede now after such a good half, and that's a really poor cross from Juan Fran, the right back, who got it back onto his left foot in a deep crossing position and just whipped it about 10 yards wide of the far post.
Yeah, the original cross from Felipe Luis was a good ball to the far post. I think it was Gabby arriving in the box, just fires it back across the 6-yard box. It was a good clearance from Roncaglia.
Goal kick for Sergio Alvarez, which will take us up towards the end of the only added minute here at the end of the first half. Flicked on halfway by Hernandez, taken down now by Guidetti. The referee has a look at his watch, blows his whistle, and it's been a thoroughly entertaining first 46 minutes here at the Vicente Calderón. Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid behind after just 5 minutes. A goalkeeping error from Moya, a free header for Cabral to give Celta the lead, and then Fernando Torres with a spectacular overhead kick just 6 minutes later got Atletico level, and he's since missed a penalty as well. Celta have had perhaps the better of the possession, but at half-time Atletico won, Celta won the score at the Vicente Calderón. This is La Liga Live on TalkSport 2. Well, I'm pretty sure that the second half is going to hold a substitution before it even gets going. Atletico ready to make the first change. Diego Simeone clearly not happy with the first half performance, and Rishelko is coming on, Croatian right back, and in place of Juan Fran. It's an interesting change. I just wonder if that's to do with Juan Fran's performance in the first half, or whether he's picked up a little bit of an injury. Certainly if Diego Simeone's not happy with some of the attacking play, that's not the change you would expect.
No, a little bit surprised. I can only imagine he's got a slight knock, and they're looking after him with future games in mind, really. Obviously not a spring chicken anymore, Juan Fran. Rishelko generally plays at left back, but obviously he's going to play it right on the right side this evening, so it's going to be interesting to see how he does.
We're ready for the start of the second half here at the Vicente Calderón. 1-1 between Atletico and Celta Vigo. Atletico attacking the goal across to our left now. Have Moya in goal, the back four, Rishelko, Lucas, Savic and Felipe Luis. The midfield, Carrasco, Gabi, Saul and Koke. The front two, Griezmann and Torres. And I'll get to the Celta team in just a moment as the ball goes out of play. There we go, Sergio the goalkeeper, Mayo, Cabral, Roncaglia and Johnny the back four, Hernandez, Redoya and Jozabed in the midfield, Sisto, Guidetti and Iago Aspas up front. Atletico in the red and white stripes, blue shorts and socks, take the throw in down the line over on the far side. Celta defending in the sky blue shirts and socks and white shorts. Griezmann has the ball over on the far side. Just one real moment from him in the first half on the ball, where he was able to turn and thread a through ball to Yannick Carrasco, who was denied one-on-one by Sergio Alvarez, the Celta goalkeeper.
It's already noticeable in the first minute of this second half that Atletico are trying to press a little bit higher up the pitch and put Celta under pressure at the back, not allow them to play through as easily as they did in the first half.
Ball cleared away up towards halfway. Celta now can retreat back towards the edge of their own penalty area, because it was a bursting run to get forward for Atletico onto this near side. Koke has it, and it's cleared away as Lucas in fact had made the burst over halfway just to try and get the Celta defenders moving around a little bit. Felipe Luis will take the throw in on the near side for Atletico. Down the line he goes, and Some tenacious Celta defending to greet Yannick Carrasco on the ball, and actually he got the last touch as it came out off the field on this near side for a throw-in. So we've already had one change, and the Athletico substitutes warming up out on the sideline now as well. There's plenty of options for Diego Simeone, certainly in an attacking sense, to turn to in the second half if they need a goal. Kevin Gameiro, we mentioned earlier on, Nico Gaitan, who a few thought might start today, Angel Correa as well, all options later in the game if things don't go to plan. They have won a free kick just off this near touchline and just off the corner of the technical area where Diego Simeone stands, and he's shouting and gesturing to his players. It's a deep crossing position. It is going to go straight in to the mix from Koke. Right-footed delivery, close to the goalkeeper, punched away. Not the best punch from Sergio Alvarez this time. The same end of the field where Moya messed up in the first half, and it ends up out of play, not quite as costly for an Atletico throw-in on the near side.
It's a little bit fortunate there, wasn't he, Sergio Alvarez? The cross was over here, really could have caught it, but punched it down into an area where there are a lot of players. Fortunately for him, it landed to a Celta Vigo player to clear the danger.
Torres holding up the ball and moving it back to Koke. It's out of play for a throw-in again, and Atletico creep a few yards further forward into Celta territory, about 10 yards from the corner flag now on this near side. Left flank for them, and Felipe Luis threatening to take the throw. Didn't quite see the option he wanted, eventually gets it into Carrasco. Carrasco has done well to work it back towards the left back, although it had a little bit too much on it, and it's hooked away and out into touch in front of Diego Simeone again. Good 3 minutes to start the second half from Atletico. Good pressure, good possession, and now they've got a good position for this free kick as Carrasco is caught just moving in field off the near corner of the penalty area. Brilliant position for a right-footer to strike towards goal. Yeah, it was just a throw-in really into Carrasco as he ran across the edge of the 18-yard box, took a touch with his right foot across the box, and then Hugo Mayo, the Celta Vigo captain, just a little bit too eager to win the ball, just brought him down. Gabby is behind this with his right foot. Just wonder if he'll bend it in or whether he might just knock it to the side for maybe Carrasco to have a shot. It's maybe just slightly too far off centre to really have a good go. It's almost just on the corner of the penalty area, so it would take something special to beat the goalkeeper from here. Just wondered if he might just knock it to the side for Carrasco to hit, just move it a little bit more central. He does do that. Carrasco drills it in, deflected, and it spins away across towards this near side now to play for a throw-in. A little touch just invited the Celta defenders to come and block the shot. There's always that danger, isn't there? Obviously the touch allows the man that's closing down and charging down the free kick that little bit more time to get there. Atletico felt they should have had a corner there as Hugo Mayo headed the ball to keep it in play right on the byline. It looked like he might have gone too far off, but the assistant way over on the far side didn't flag, and now Celta have been able to move the ball forward, and Mayo's in an attacking position now on this near side. Got the ball from Guidetti, but it's a poor pass backwards as he's closed down by the corner flag. Couldn't find Iago Aspas and concedes the throw-in. It was a good move down the right-hand side to free Mayo, actually. And he just got to the byline. He was looking up and there was no one in the penalty area, so he had to come back, and then he overhit the pass. 5 minutes into the second half here. Atletico Madrid 1, Celta Vigo 1 on La Liga Live on TalkSport 2. A game that Atletico will very much feel they have to win in the race for the top four. Here's Rodoya moving forward towards halfway for Celta. Sisto, who had some good moments in the first half over on the left flank, cleared away by Celta but presented straight back to Atletico. They have it in the centre circle as they go back and across the back line towards Felipe Luis on the near side of the defence now. Celta trying to press high into the Atletico half and force them to surrender possession, but it's been flicked through towards Torres, who tries to roll away from the last defender, and the free kick has gone against him here as he went through one-on-one with Sergio Alvarez. Really frustrated by decisions in the first half, Fernando Torres. Some maybe he should have got, some maybe he shouldn't.
Roncaglia just turns and lets him run back towards his own goal, gets his body in front of Torres. Torres is trying to win it back, arms on him. I can understand why the free kick's given. I do think Roncaglia went down a little bit easily, but I think you're always going to get the free kick there.
Yeah, Fernando Torres is battling away, and that's why he's frustrated, because he's putting pressure on, he's working hard, and he thinks he should have had the benefit of the doubt there. But I think 9 times out of 10, when a defender's got their body between the attacking player and the ball and goes down, it's going to be a free kick.
I think in that situation, if it's the other way round, certainly Torres would have wanted the foul.
Ball back for Celta with Redoya, the holding midfield player. He just shifts it away from Torres as he crosses halfway. Iago Aspas has his arms outstretched, asking for the ball. He's in a little pocket of space in the number 10 position. Doesn't come to him yet. And it bypasses him, in fact, and comes across towards the near side of the field, where Mayo is forward from right back again. Good crossing position. Gets it into the box, and a shaky moment again for Moya, the goalkeeper, as he tries to catch, drops the ball, and then grabs it at the second attempt in a crowded penalty area.
He's not at all comfortable when the ball's being crossed into the box, is he? Just drops it at his feet, but fortunately got onto it straight away. But they're opening up a lot of space on this right hand side for Hugo Mayo to get forward, because Aspas drifts in from the right. He doesn't stay out and play right wing, he likes to come inside, and it's just allowing Mayo to get lots of space to get crosses in.
There's Gabby in the centre circle, forward ball flicked around the corner by Griezmann, but hasn't really gone to plan for him so far today, and it just runs straight through on the slippy surface to the goalkeeper Sergio Alvarez.
Well, we just saw a little clip of Diego Godin watching this game there, probably wishing he was on the pitch and having some sort of influence.
Still time, of course, for Antoine Griezmann to have his influence. We saw in the first half that it only takes a moment, only takes a split second really, as he carved open the Celta defence with a through ball to Carrasco. Hasn't had any kind of a sight of goal though, Antoine Griezmann. Celta have defensively done a really good job on him. The ball cleared away over by the corner flag on the far side for an Athletico throw-in. Or for a Celta throw-in, I beg your pardon. Level with the edge of the 18-yard box. It's back over on that far side left flank for them. They win a throw-in again. We've played 9 minutes of the second half. Here, it's not been quite as high octane as the first so far.
Well, you'd almost expect that after half-time. Both managers really trying to stop what the other side have been doing and try and make themselves a little bit more stable. Certainly from an Athletico Madrid point of view, you know, they were a little bit too open in that first half, and I spoke about maybe Simeone getting them in at half-time and saying let's press a little bit higher at the pitch, stop them playing. It's exactly what they've done, and it's forced Celta to hit it long and made them a little bit more predictable.
Here's Gabby now in the centre of the field, although I think he's going to be tempted to kick the ball out of play, because John Guidetti, the Celta number 9, is down and holding his head.
Just went up for a challenge. I think it was Savic, came over the top of him and made a clear attempt to win the ball, and I think Savic did win the ball, but obviously caught Guidetti on the head.
He got sandwiched between two Atletico players, the two centre-backs. He's only started 6 games before today in La Liga, John Guidetti. He's a player who's a talented finisher. He's shown that in his time in Holland. Scored 20 goals in 23 league games on loan at Feyenoord 5 years ago, but he's not really kicked on from there. They've got Giuseppe Rossi, of course, who we know has been a talented finisher and has had his problems with injury. He's certainly got players who, at the right moment on their day, can have an impact, as well as Iago Aspas up front. But you feel they've relied too heavily on Aspas this season?
They do, but I always think they look a better team when Guidetti's in the side. He gives them a focal point and allows Aspas a little bit more space to go and play.
Free kick for Atletico is a few yards off the edge of the centre circle here inside the Celta half. It's going to be, I think, just hung in towards the edge of the penalty area by Gabby. Chipped in towards this near side of the box. It's headed up into the air. Lucas trying to go to ground in the penalty area and win the ball. He actually picks up the ball and shows it to the referee and says I did win it, but the referee didn't like how he went to ground.
No, I think he made a decent attempt to win the ball. He did get a touch on the ball, but he also brought Johnny down in the penalty area, so I think the free kick was justified.
We've got Champions League action coming up this week on TalkSport 2. Tuesday it's Paris Saint-Germain against Barcelona, and on Wednesday Real Madrid taking on Napoli at the Bernabeu, and then on Thursday Europa League action. We've got live coverage of Borussia Mönchengladbach against Fiorentina. TalkSport 2, your home for live sport. La Liga action at the moment, and still points hanging in the balance between Atletico and Celta. Ball out to play on this near side for a Celta throw. And Chris, you're on the mic for that PSG Barcelona game on Wednesday. Looking forward to it?
Absolutely, yeah, I can't wait. Tuesday night, actually, that one. So forget Valentine's and get listening.
Cleared away up towards halfway. I'm not sure everyone will be able to do that, but maybe a few will.
Well, my wife's accepted it anyway, so it's all right.
You've shifted Valentine's to Monday, have you?
Wednesday.
Oh, so you won't be watching the game at the Bernabeu then? Real Madrid taking on Napoli. That is the one we have on Wednesday.
I'll certainly try.
Good luck. Celta play the ball across towards Sisto over on the far side. 1-1 here, 57 minutes on the clock. Gabi intercepts though for Atletico, and they can move it away. Across to the right flank, it's a run forwards from Vršálko, the half-time substitute, and he just ran into a leg that was hanging across his path and gets tripped as he goes into the Celta half.
I think he's just looking to go down there. There was an awful lot of contact.
Free kick taken short down the line, and Celta straight back in possession. They weren't falling for that one. Sisto, they lay off from Guidetti, who has held the ball up well so far. Iago Aspas trying to find him with a threaded ball through. It's cleared away only as far as Mayo on this near side. Sisto comes infield. They're about 30 yards from goal now, Celta. Mayo, the right back, drifts infield as well. Moves it back to the edge of the centre circle, and across to Johnny on the far side, who's forward from left back. They have just about everybody up inside the Atletico half now, Celta. They have looked confident in these positions, moving the ball around, waiting for an opportunity. That's a poor pass from Redoya, but he gets it back. Atletico really making a meal out of clearing their own half here.
Once again, Celta are keeping the ball, and they've got Atletico pinned in. You just think when this happens that Celta eventually, if they're patient, will open up this defence.
Ozabed trying to turn in the penalty area, almost got away from the last line of defence. Manu hit the post in the first half, but now a chance for the counter for Atletico. Fernando Torres moving across towards this near side, looking to drift infield off the left flank, but he ran into the first challenge and had the ball taken off his toes. Celta able to clear, and it's flicked on towards Guidetti. He's beaten to the ball. They can't control it at the back either, so it's almost like a basketball game at the moment. Back and forth. Here's Griezmann now. Can he get on the end of a 1-2? And he's stuck to very tightly all the way again. Koke with the square ball to Saul across towards the far side, getting forward from right back for Vršálko. The ball never came around the corner to him though on the overlap. Now it does find its way to the number 16, and he cuts back infield, and Celta have got players finally back behind the ball. Down the line it goes to Vršálko again. He gets the cross in, although Griezmann is offside.
It was a lovely early cross though, wasn't it? Really quick 1-2 on the right hand side between Vršálko and Gabi. I think his little ball into the path of Vršálko, whips it in first time behind the defence, but Griezmann had made his run too early.
Just a few seconds earlier we saw Griezmann trying to play that 1-2 on the edge of the penalty area, stuck to ever so tightly, has had very little room to operate here.
I think everyone knows when they look at this Atletico side that he's the danger man, he's the one you've got to stop playing.
There's Fernando Torres finding Griezmann this time. A bit more space to pick out a pass towards Carrasco on the near side. Felipe Luis on the overlap. Carrasco went for the shot. He was charged down by Roncaglio on the edge of the penalty area. It loops high over the top of the crossbar and out of play for a corner.
Yeah, it was a good ball, wasn't it, from Griezmann out to Carrasco, just cutting in at the corner of the 18-yard box. Felipe Luis makes a run around the outside of him, and he cuts inside and gets the shot away.
Corner to be taken over on the far side, where it's a red and white striped corner flag waving in the Madrid breeze, and it comes into the box, and it's a group of players all going for the same ball, and the final touch out of bounds was off the head of the centre-back Lucas.
Yeah, he rose, didn't he, but he was under a lot of pressure from Cabral.
Just going back to Griezmann, teams did seem to find a way of stopping him towards the end of last year. He finished 2016 on a remarkably poor run of 9 league games without a goal, but He scored twice in the league in January, and in 2017 so far 6 goals in 10 games in all competitions.
Players just go through spells sometimes when it isn't quite happening, but you know, the good ones come out of those spells and go through the other side, and 6 goals already in 2017 speaks for itself.
I think Daniel Vass is going to come on for Celta Vigo imminently.
Yeah, I don't think Hozabed's been particularly influential in the second half. I haven't really mentioned him as much as we did in the first half. Just wondered if he might be the one to come off, or maybe one of the other midfielders picked up an injury.
Of course, these players, there wasn't many changes from the cup game only a few days ago as well, so they'll have put an awful lot in. That's a lovely long ball, crossfield ball to Torres. He helps it into the penalty area. Carrasco rising, heads towards goal, although it was a looping cross and he was about 16 yards out. Had to generate all of the power on the header himself and was going to really struggle to trouble Sergio Alvarez from there.
Yeah, it's a wonderful first touch though from Fernando Torres as the ball was switched to him. His first touch took him past the defender. His cross was just floated in the air, and very difficult for Carrasco to do anything with the header.
Celta on the ball on halfway over on the far side. 62 minutes played now at the Vicente Calderón in Madrid. Are we going to have a winner in the final half an hour? Griezmann trying to intercept. Played forward now towards Koke, finds Griezmann, scuffs the ball really towards Carrasco, but it works out for Atletico. A nice triangle of passes through the centre circle. They've released Felipe Luis on this near side. He gets the cross in from the corner of the penalty area, but it's too high for Fernando Torres, and it drifts away and out of play for a throw-in over on the far side of the field, and it's not quite coming together, certainly in an attacking sense for Atletico so far in this second half.
No, it's not. I mean, Celta are going to make a substitution now, but Felipe Luis got forward there, but when he looked up, there was only Fernando Torres in the box. There were 3 or 4 players waiting on the edge of the 18-yard box. One of them needed to get into the box to give Torres some support.
We are going to see that change now for Celta with Daniel Vass coming on. He's been a key player this season. He's started 18 of the league games. It's actually the first time that he's coming on to a league game from the bench. And Hozabed, you called it, Chris, is the player who makes way.
Yeah, this is a good substitution for me from Celta. Daniel Vass generally starts every week, real energy, makes some very good runs in behind the defence, and for me is a better player than Hozabed. So I mean, they've improved the side there.
He's the man who scored the decisive goal to knock Real Madrid out of the Cup last month. Athletico fans would have been celebrating that goal.
He was outstanding on that evening. He really was. His energy and the amount of runs he made in behind.
Can he do it to the other capital club? Guidetti trying to chase this one down. It bounces out to play on the far side for a throw-in a couple of yards from the corner flag. It has been a little bit tighter in this second half, but Atletico haven't really created anything, have they?
No, possibly because they've stopped Celta playing a little bit. It means that they haven't been able to commit so many players forward, Celta, and therefore there's not been the spaces, but they're on the break now.
Atletico are committing players forward on the counter-attack here. 2 in the centre already. The ball is played back to Griezmann though, who is staying a little deeper, trying to dictate the play. Celta have been able to get plenty of players back behind the ball. They've got 5 lined up along the edge of the 18-yard box. Near side of the penalty area now. Atletico coming forward, and Lucas, the centre-back it is, in a left-wing position, able to fire the cross off the shins of a Celta defender and away and behind for a corner, but they could have had a whole lot more there.
Well, it was impressive the speed that Atletico counter-attacked, but also really impressive was the way that Celta got bodies behind the ball and put a stop to that.
Corner from the near side as Atletico attack the goal across to our left. In swinger towards the edge of the 6-yard box, headed away, out across towards the far side where it's recovered by Gabi under pressure from Guidetti. And they go all the way back, Atletico, to the goalkeeper Moya. He will kick long under pressure from Sisto. Griezmann gets his head to the ball, and there is a bit of head tennis now to try and bring it down. It ends up at the feet of Iago Aspas. He's able to turn on halfway, a bit more space than he's had for most of the evening, and he passes the ball to Sisto, and that's the second time in the game that a pass that has been on the mark to Sisto has just bobbled under or over his foot and out for a throw-in.
Yeah, the problem for Sisto is he's right-footed and he's playing out on that left wing, so when it's fired at him, he has to try and control it with his left foot, which certainly isn't as good as his right. He needs to really work on that.
Guidetti doing his best to harass the Atletico defenders now as they scoop the ball away towards halfway. Mayo steps in and gets there before Carrasco. And then there's a free kick that's going to go to Celta on the edge of the centre circle. Redoya got his body between Saul and the ball.
Really clever play actually from Redoya there. He was under pressure, knew he was under pressure, knew that Saul Niguez was going to come and make the challenge, and just got his body in the way and felt the contact and went down, won the free kick. Clever play.
Just when you were talking about Sisto's lack of control, how he's finding it difficult playing on that side, I was wondering if we might see Theo Bongonda, a talented young Belgian player, 21 years of age. He is going to come on imminently, I think. We're halfway through the second half, but Sisto's still trying to have an impact on the game if indeed he is the player to be withdrawn. It's a nice 1-2 on the edge of the penalty area, cleared away by Atletico though. And Celta have the ball back as it's headed forward from Roncaglia. In the centre circle is Carrasco, but he's challenged by Vass, who helps Celta get back on the ball. Iago Aspas moves it across to the near side, where there's a bit more space now for Mayo, as there has been throughout this second half. Infield, the ball goes to Iago Aspas, who thought he was tripped, was convinced he should have had a free kick. The challenge from Lucas Hernandez deemed a fair one by the referee. Now the counter-attack for Atletico, really good dummy to allow the ball to run to the far side. The cross wasn't quite as good though, aimed at the head of Griezmann, but caught by Sergio Alvarez.
Yeah, beautiful dummy in the build-up though from Fernando Torres, wasn't there? Just to free Vashalko down that right-hand side.
The game is becoming quite stretched again, as it was in the first half. And just taking a look again on the monitor in front of us at that claim for a free kick from Iago Aspas.
It's a really good challenge from young Lucas Hernandez, just stepping in front of Aspas, winning the ball cleanly, shrugging Aspas to the floor.
It's been a bit of a similar story for Iago Aspas today as it has been for Antoine Griezmann, hasn't it?
Little bits here and there, shown little glimpses, haven't they, both of them, but not really been able to influence the game as much as they'd have liked.
So perhaps our predictions pre-match haven't come to fruition just yet, but at least we've shown what we're talking about in terms of substitutions. You called the first one and I've called the second one for Celta. Sisto making way, Bongonda the player who comes on.
He always disappoints me, Bongonda. I think he has got talent, but just doesn't really...
He's very raw, isn't he?
Very raw. You expect better end product from him. You expect him to score more goals than he does. Doesn't really get many assists either.
With 1 goal all season in La Liga, 3 assists. Here's Carrasco at the other end though, rifles in a cross from this near side, and it's clutched into the midriff of Sergio Alvarez. 20 minutes for these two teams to try and come up with a winning goal. Celta, of course, will be the happier of the two if it remains this way. I think we're going to see Angel Correa imminently for Atletico Madrid. They're coming forward over on the far side with Griezmann, although it's good defending from Roncaglia. Forces the ball back to the goalkeeper, who's happy to pass it out from his penalty area. Forward into the feet of Vass, and then to Guidetti, who's dropped halfway back inside his own half to try and hold up the ball. Redoya surrounded by red and white shirts, and he's been able to dummy past all of them and past a fourth as well. Wonderful slalom run from Redoya, who you don't expect that from. Here's Guidetti now.
Well, let me tell you, if they score a goal from this move, this will be one of the goals of the season.
Mayo, they're not going to score a goal from this move, because that was a thumping challenge. You might have heard it on the FX microphone from Felipe Luis. Clattered into Mayo. They've given it away before they've crossed halfway though. Iago Aspas does well to play it out between two Atletico defenders to Daniel Vass, who gets it back from Hugo Mayo and plays it across to the far side. Atletico have to shift their defence across to guard against the attack from the left wing. Usually very organised in doing that, of course. It's a long ball in towards the head of Guidetti in the penalty area. It'll drop on the volley for Iago Aspas, who certainly got the quality to produce a finish as the ball drops out of the sky like that, but didn't quite catch that one cleanly. He got it on target but didn't generate the power, and it was a comfortable start.
It ends up ballooning in the air off Lucas Hernandez, and I think he ends up hitting it with his shin pad, and it's comfortable on his right foot. Had that been on his left foot, I think it would have been a much better attempt.
We're going to have that change now for Atletico. I'm sure that Diego Simeone will be really frustrated and disappointed with the lack of creativity from his team in this second half. They have looked more solid defensively, but they haven't created too many holes in the Celta defence. And maybe a man who can do that is Angel Correa, another talented young forward player, 21 years of age, already a fully fledged Argentine international. Saúl Ñíguez is the player who makes way. I've been really impressed, Chris, with Correa the few times that I've seen him.
Yeah, he's got energy. He's a little bit raw at times. Sometimes lacks a little bit of quality when he gets in the final third. But that's the youth in him, really. He just needs that experience. He needs to play a little bit more often, I think.
You compare his stats to Bongonda, who we've just talked about on the opposing team today. He's got 5 assists. Correa.
He's more effective than Bongonda, without a doubt. Yeah.
He's scored 3 goals as well, and he's only started 6 games this season in the league. Here he is trying to dance away from a challenge in the final third, but couldn't quite overcome the final hurdle. The ball is cleared away by Sergio Olivares, and Carrasco is going to be penalised for a challenge as he went to try and beat Hernandez in the air. Frustration growing now around the Vicente Calderón.
You can hear it in the crowd, can't you? They're getting frustrated. They expect Atletico to be beating teams like Celta, and just saying, this second half, Alvarez hasn't had a save to make.
That will be really disappointing for the man we can see on our monitor right now is running down the touchline. Diego Simeone to make a point about something.
I think they changed the substitution at the last minute. They were going to take Yannick Carrasco off. He came over, and then suddenly I think there must have been a problem with Saúl Ñíguez, and they quickly had to change that.
It was Saúl who came off for Correa. Bongonda, the Celta substitute, has just been tripped over on the far touchline, showing his nifty footwork. So it's a free kick about 15 yards inside the Atletico half. And frustration continues to brew here because Celta have started at the 73-minute mark the time-wasting tactics. One player left it for another. They tried to use up a few more seconds. The crowd got riled. The referee produced the yellow card for Johnny. Now it will go into the mixer. Curled in close towards goal, had to be washed all the way by Moya. I'll tell you what, there'll be a few thousand hearts in mouths every time he has to try and make a catch.
He drops it every time it goes to him, doesn't he?
Carrasco trying to get away from Redoya, who does his job very well indeed and finds the goalkeeper. Sergio, who's a bit more composed than his opposing number, and plays out a short ball. It's played over the top now for Guidetti to try and chase, and Moya was outside his penalty area, this time just to hoof it clear on the volley. Bongonda takes a nice touch to control the ball on the far touchline.
He ran it out, didn't he? Just overran it, went out of play. He's a frustrating player for me whenever I've watched him.
He's been a regular on the left of the attack this season, having only started 14 games in the whole of last season, so he is getting more time on the field to try and develop those raw skills now. And with 15 minutes to go here, Atletico Madrid are bringing off their man of the match so far, Fernando Torres, who scored a brilliant overhead kick to equalise way back in the first quarter of an hour. Will not play the last quarter of an hour. Kevin Gameiro comes on in his place.
I think it's a sensible substitution. Torres maybe running out of a little bit of energy in this second half, certainly not been as effective.
Here comes Carrasco forward, but he dribbles straight into the challenge of Roncaglia. There was an opportunity on the counter for Atletico. Vass is able to turn. He was fouled, but the referee plays on. He's been fouled again. The referee plays on again. Great control from Vass.
Brilliant from Vass, wasn't it? Stayed on the ball.
Atletico have pitched it back eventually, though. Gabi Across to the far side, Bongonda got a foot in, and he's got plenty of pace. He's skipped away from one challenge as well. Here comes Theo Bongonda. Guidetti moving into the centre. Big chance this here for Celta. Back to Iago Aspas. It's Guidetti. Pulls the trigger.
Oh, wow.
But he misfires. So 10 yards out, over the top of the crossbar. Golden opportunity for Celta to get themselves back in front. But his body shape was wrong. He was leaning backwards. He scuffed it about a yard over the top of the bar.
A yard, you're being really kind. About 10 yards over the bar. Beautiful move. Bongonda to Vass. Vass sucks all the Atletico Madrid players towards him, slides it to his right. Guidetti has a touch to set himself and then fires it, I would say, a good 7 or 8 yards over the bar. Really should be hitting the target there.
I'll settle for 4. It was a miss hit. A big miss hit from a big opportunity. Now Atletico can look to punish Celta at the other end. Off the edge of the D, Carrasco. Cross was just slightly behind him, allowed Celta to get players back behind the ball. Koke threads an eye-of-the-needle pass, and he didn't quite find the eye. And Radoja can try and clear from the left-back position and try to actually chip it towards Iago Aspas. It's intercepted via the head of Koke, though. So Atletico able to keep up the pressure on Celta. Koke twisting and turning and trying to find a teammate. Chips it over the top again. Last ditch challenge as the assistant referee falls over on the far side, trying to stop his run and turn back the right direction of the play. It has been that kind of a game at times, end to end, one side to the other. And here goes Vass running in behind again. Pulls it back. Big chance, edge of the penalty area, and it's tucked home brilliantly. Fantastic counter-attacking goal from Celta Vigo, and John Guidetti does get his goal in the end, his 3rd of the season, but he scores in back-to-back league games, and he scores at the Vicente Calderón to put Celta Vigo back ahead. What a big body blow that is to the Rojiblancos Champions League charge.
Well, this is a brilliant move from Celta Vigo. It really is, involving Aspas and Vass. I said when Vass came on, he makes this side better. Aspas's ball is perfect to him, but what composure from Vass to see the run of Guidetti coming back across the 6-yard box. He cuts it back, a little disguised pass, and we've just said Guidetti's fired one over when he's had a much better chance. Well, this one, great composure, running across the 18-yard box on his right foot, just passes it into the bottom corner. Moya has been dragged over to the other side of the goal by Vass's run. Brilliant finish, Celta in the lead and fully deserved.
Celta Vigo carve open the Atletico Madrid defence on the counter-attack. A bit of a taste of their own medicine with 12 minutes to play, with Atletico trying to chase the go-ahead goal. Now they find themselves behind again. Celta striking early and late at this famous old stadium to maybe come up with a famous win and add the name Atletico Madrid to their list of victims this season, along with neighbours Real Madrid and Barcelona.
I think you could see in this Celta side the ability that they've got. It's just finding that consistency. They can really raise their game against the best teams, but they've got to find a way against the lesser teams to get that sort of consistency in their performance, because then they can really push on, and I could see them maybe pushing on towards the Champions League spots.
Yeah, they do look at a really well-oiled machine at times. You have to give credit to the head coach Eduardo Berizzo, Toto as the locals call him, for getting them playing as a team. And what a victory this could be for them as they chase a continental place again. The cross comes in from the far side, and Moya didn't look like he was going to reach it at all, and he's fortunate that the free kick has gone Atletico's way in the 6-yard box.
Well, this is brilliant defending from Mashalko, getting his keeper out of jail there, because the cross comes in from the left-hand side, and Moya completely misses his punch once again. And Mashalko heads it away under real pressure from Radoja, I think it is, coming in, and clears the danger, and he takes a knock on the head, Mashalko, for his troubles. But what an important header that was.
Long ball forward for Atletico now. They've had to change their tactics with just 10 minutes to go, trailing here to Celta, but it skips up off the turf straight into the gloves of Sergio Alvarez, who will cling on to it as long as the rules allow him to do.
Well, I can only think Simeone must be hoping that Oblak's fit for the Champions League very soon.
Absolutely.
Moya looks an absolute shambles on crosses, and anyone watching the performance tonight will just be putting balls in the box as much as they can.
You can bet that there are scouts watching and assessing the potential weaknesses in this Atletico team ahead of the Champions League and further La Liga games, and they will have seen a huge weakness.
I think is it Leverkusen they got in the Champions League?
Yeah, away leg first, not this week but the week after.
I can certainly see the likes of Karim Bellarabi just licking his lips at putting balls into that box, and Chicharito getting on the end of it.
They'll hope that that extra week, because there are Champions League ties this week and next.
Yes.
They'll hope that extra week is enough to get Jan Oblak back from that shoulder injury. Here's Felipe Luis now. Atletico trying to salvage a point here into the corner of the penalty area. Runs into traffic though, and Celta able to clear their lines from the right back position. We know Celta can score goals, but defensively is where they have struggled this season. Only 5 teams had a worse defensive record after 20 games of La Liga coming into the weekend. 33 conceded in those 20. But they have tightened things up a little recently. Clean sheets in 2 of their last 3, having gone 11 without one before that. And only a brilliant Torres goal has beaten them so far here today. And as we've said, Atletico have rarely threatened in this second half.
They've been disappointing, haven't they? They've gone through the motions a little bit. They lack that little bit of creativity to open up a defence. That really, when you look at Celta, they've had it. No, Aspas has got that. That ball through to Vas was absolutely perfect.
Here's Griezmann now, 30 yards from goal. Can the maestro get them out of jail as he tries to dance forward off the edge of the D, but it doesn't stick to his boot this time, as it so often does, and Celta are able to hammer clear over halfway.
Just wonder whether all the talk of moves away from Madrid are just affecting his play, affecting his mindset.
I'm sure he'll want to move away if they don't get Champions League football.
Absolutely. A player of his quality needs to be playing Champions League football year in, year out.
Over on the far side of the field, Atletico have the ball now and move it infield towards Correa. Correa trying to slip one round the corner towards Vršálko, who's forward from right back, cleared away by Celta, but they can't get it out to their own half now. A bit of encouragement from the Vicente Calderon faithful. Atletico have the ball over on the far side. Celta happy to try and sit back and weather the storm now that inevitably is going to come their way over the next 7 minutes plus added time. Chip through, Carrasco getting in behind, pulls the trigger first time, stopped by the legs of Sergio Alvarez from a tight angle. It was a good stop from the goalkeeper who made himself big, an instinctive try from Carrasco, and he couldn't quite get his angles right.
It was a brilliant run from Yannick Carrasco, wasn't it? Diagonal run from coming in from that left position. Beautiful ball by Gabi with the outside of his right foot. Hit it first time, but Alvarez was out quickly to close the angle down and make the save with his feet.
And that's the first time he's been called into action since half-time as well. Sergio Alvarez. Celta are going to try and eat up a few more precious seconds by making another change, their final change of the evening. Iago Aspas is the player making way. 84 minutes on the clock here on La Liga Live on TalkSport 2. Marcelo Diaz, the player who comes on, defensively minded midfield player who can play in defence as well. So they're going to try and shut up shop here. Felipe Luis dribbling away from Guidetti, who might have scored the winning goal. He's back trying to help out his team defensively. Atletico have the ball on the far side of the field. They'll try and squeeze the cross in. Roncaglia well positioned at the near post, able to stop the cross and then clear.
They've been excellent. I think the 2 centre-backs, Cabral and Roncaglia, every time the ball has come in the box, have been absolutely sensational. They really have defended the box well.
5 minutes of the 90 to play. The ball out of play on the far side of the field, but it was a trip by Bongonda as Vršálko beat him over on the far side, and the free kick taken quickly by Gabi into the far side of the penalty area. Turn, left foot shot, deflected wide for a corner, and now Atletico are applying some real pressure to the Celta Vigo goal. Has it come too late though?
That was good, wasn't it, from Griezmann? Saw the free kick early, played it into his feet, he wriggled in the box, got turned, fired the shot away.
Out-swinging corner, right-footed towards the penalty spot. The header towards goal was from Savic, cleared away as it threatened to cross the goal line, out as far as Koke. Across to the far side now, plenty of bodies in the box. It's hung high into the air. One at the back post again, headed back towards Griezmann. On the volley, oh, what a goal!
Carrasco.
From Yannick Carrasco. It came out of the penalty area and just off the edge of the D. He swung his right boot at it. No chance for Sergio Alvarez this time as it flew past him and whizzed around into the back of the net. A stunning strike from the 23-year-old. What a way to end a 13-game goal drought. We've seen a couple of beauties from Atletico here today, and that one might just have saved them a point.
Well, this is brilliant, isn't it? They don't clear the cross. It gets fired back across by Lucas Hernandez. Roncaglia heads it clear to the edge of the 18-yard box. On the D there, waiting is Carrasco. He's getting closed down by two players. Hits it on the volley with his right foot, loops up and bends over the goalkeeper into the far left-hand corner. Absolutely brilliant strike from Carrasco. 2-2.
Tremendous technique. As sweet a contact on the volley as you'll see. Cross it to the near post and headed in to the side netting as Celta look to get themselves ahead for the third time today.
It's the left back, Johnny Castro, who gets himself in at the front post of the 6-yard box, just trying to guide the header in at the near post, and it hits the side netting. It's been an excellent game. Probably don't think either side deserved to lose the game.
There is still time for a winner. Atletico will be absolutely more desperate to get it than Celta. It's a throw-in on this near side, taken in front of Diego Simeone by Felipe Luis. They couldn't, could they? Turn it around in the final few minutes and take all 3 points. Ball chipped forward over on the far side, headed away from the Celta left-back position. It'll drop for Gabi. He can certainly pick a pass and he slides it down the line for Correa. Correa gets it into the penalty area. Not it down. Griezmann is there. Atletico Madrid scored twice in as many minutes. They have turned the second half completely on its head. At the death, it looks as though Antoine Griezmann has snatched all 3 points as Diego Simeone runs down the touchline to join in the celebration with his players. He leaps up on top of the huddle of players as Griezmann is swamped by his teammates and his manager. He's been almost anonymous at times here this afternoon, but that's what happens when you have a world-class talent. Antoine Griezmann needed just a brief moment and he's won the game for Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, it's a beautifully constructed goal from Atletico Madrid. Johnny Castro just found himself in the 6-yard box at one end of the pitch, hadn't really got back. Ball gets played in behind him. Mashalko lifts a beautifully weighted cross to the far post. Gamero pulls off the back of Cabral, just knocks it down into the edge of the 6-yard box where Griezmann arrives perfectly on cue, just to fire it into the roof of the net past Alvarez and make it 3-2 to Atletico. They probably don't deserve to win the game, but that little bit of class has just shown when they needed it.
It's the first time he's really found any sort of room in the Celta penalty area, and he has made them pay. His 7th goal of 2017. Although you have to say it's one he really couldn't have missed. All he had to do was make a clean connection.
Brilliant.
And it was past Sergio Alvarez.
Brilliant play from Mashalko. The cross is absolutely inch perfect, and the header from Gamero, so unselfish, could have easily gone for goal himself, but saw the run and gave it to his French teammate just to score.
And what a result this could be from Atletico in their pursuit of the Champions League places. Celta thought they had all 3 points. It looks as though they're going to leave the Vicente Calderon with nothing. After such a good performance, they have crumbled at the last few minutes. And now the chants you can hear are coming from those in red and white. Lovely cushioned header from Gamero. And Diego Simeone's celebration. He turned around and apologised to the officials as he ran the whole length of the touchline from his dugout to jump on the pile of players.
Joy, wasn't it? You know, it's great to see managers with that enthusiasm to go and do that. You know, they're so into the game.
Shades of Jose Mourinho with Porto back in the day. It is great to see that passion. It shouldn't be discouraged by the lawmakers and the officials. That's what football's all about.
For Gabi there, a late tackle on John Guidetti. Just as Celta just look to pop a few passes and try and get back into the game again.
We're into the first of 3 added minutes, and Atletico Madrid just have to try and dot the I's and cross the T's on this roller coaster ride of a performance.
It's been a brilliant game to watch, and both sides have played a full part in this game. Celta have arguably been the better team to watch and created the better chances in the match, but Athletico have found the way to get the goals to possibly win it.
Is there to be one more twist in the tail? Free kick to Celta, 5 yards off the edge of the centre circle, hung into the penalty area, headed on towards goal and clung onto this time by Miguel Angel Moya, who's dropped a few of them today. And Diego Simeone now is playing the role of cheerleader, walking up and down the touchline, gesturing to the fans to get behind their team for the final couple of minutes, thrusting his arms up into the air. He knows how important a victory this could be.
But it was a good chance, wasn't it, actually, for Cabral from the free kick from Diaz. Free header, 8 yards out, but headed it straight at.
They're in behind again here. Correa playing the square ball off the crossbar from close range.
Well, how has Gamero missed that chance?
It was about 6 yards out, and he rifled it up into the air. It came off the underside of the bar, bounced down ferociously and deflected away. And Celta live to fight for the final minute of added time.
Well, that was a gilt-edged chance to just put the game to bed and seal the victory. Gamero misses from literally 2 yards out, hits it onto the underside of the crossbar.
Celta have the ball over on the far side, but they're running out of time, halfway through the third and final added minute. In the centre circle now with a bit of space is Pablo Hernandez to try and move it forward towards John Guidetti, who thought he'd won the game for Celta, but Pablo Hernandez has been tricked before he could play the pass here, and there's one final opportunity for Celta, a free kick about 30 yards out, very central.
Well, this is a chance, very similar position to the last one for Marcelo Diaz, to float the ball into the penalty area, get everyone forward. Can you get probably what you deserve from this game now, Celta?
It's a bit further back than that, in fact, about 5 yards off the edge of the centre circle. They're going to try and just hang it into the penalty area.
Well, I'd hang out for Moya. Moya will
hope
drop.
they can get
Absolutely.
something. It's into that same area the last one was. Headed away though, and there is the full-time whistle. Antoine Griezmann, the golden boy again, as Atletico Madrid show some of that Simeone spirit down the stretch. A goal in the 78th minute from John Guidetti. Looked like he'd taken all 3 points and pulled off a huge shot for Celta Vigo, but Yannick Carrasco, 86th minute, Antoine Griezmann popping up with the winner, 88th minute, to take all 3 points for Atletico Madrid as they move back into the Champions League places. Final thoughts, Chris?
Oh, it's absolutely scintillating game of football from end to end. Celta Vigo, the better team for me on the night. You know, fully deserved to get something from the game, but Atletico, as they do, that team with that little bit of class on the pitch, they found a way to win, and just real great entertainment.
A Vicente Calderon classic. It has finished Atletico Madrid 3, Celta Vigo 2, and this is La Liga Live on TalkSport 2.